Hello, hello, hello. My name's Arkvoodle, and I'm going to talk about Season of Discovery and how we as the players discovered the season. That was actually pretty good. I did a little video on Phase 1, 2, and 3 of SoD. They'll be in the description below if you want to look at them. But to wrap it up, so Phase 1 and 2, really good. Phase 1 especially, insanely good for like the start of it with all like the hidden runes and stuff, the community coming together and finding them. Phase 2's Blood Moon was exceedingly good, and Phase 3 wasn't that good. Concursion sucked, but that's not really a brave opinion. I think everyone has that opinion. But going into Phase 4, wow. Phase 4, the pre-BIS grind, when we all hit 60, amazing. Simply great. Dungeons with the boys, some of the funnest stuff around, right? Like, let's do some lowers today, let's do some uppers, let's go bang out some BRD, Emp runs, you know what I mean? It's good. It's probably the best part of Original Classic, and then MC came out that phase as well, and the World Bosses. World Bosses were alright. MC, pretty fucking mid. I'm not a huge fan of MC. The Molten Core as a fight was alright on Heat 3, but for the most part, like, you know, MC is MC. BW then came out next, BWL, sorry. BWL was a step up, but still kind of mid, but what did come out with BWL was ZG. Personally, ZG is such a vibe, it's just a chill with the boys. ZG's are great, it's my favorite raid in Classic WoW. ZG's great. Doing a car was pretty fun, and yeah, just great place. My guild saw a Raptor, and it went to my friend Kio's Tank Shaman, which was really cool. What they introduced in the BWL phase, which was they introduced basically the ability to flex, quote unquote, where the raids were tuned for 20 players, and whilst they didn't scale in difficulty, when you went to, like, you know, if you brought in like 23 people, the raid harder. I think this is the perfect way to do Classic WoW, because if you look at Classic WoW, for example, the raids aren't like particularly like super challenging where you need 40 players, right? Like maybe like Naxx, you know what I mean, like original 40 Naxx, but everything is just solved by bringing more warriors in that case in Classic. But if you're like in a guild of like, let's say like 22, 23 people, you don't really need to worry about attendance or whatever. Like you have 21 one week, 22 the next, you know, it's all good. And that's like really fun, it's really chill. It adds to a very chill, relaxed vibe to it. And it also functions as a way to make the raids easier should you decide to like, oh crap, this raid's really hard, let's bring in an extra like 5-10 people, right? And I think that's a really good like safeguard for Classic, so you don't have to have like too many difficulties or stuff like that. But yep, that sort of rating and that sort of like idea, good. Really good work by the devs on that one. I haven't forgot about Demonfall Canyon, by the way. I'll be talking about that very soon. Going into AQ, I liked it a lot. My guild got 2 of the 2 Scarab Lords, those being for our Rogue Ship and our Mage Fed. We put in the effort. It was definitely a lot easier than, you know, Classic WoW's version, but you know, you still have to put in a bit of effort to it, and you still have to go back and you still have to do the quest lines and stuff, which is really cool. And AQ 10, which is AQ Ruins, really good, really good. One thing they did really well with the AQ phase was the addition of the mounts. I really think the hard mode mounts added a lot to the game. It was just another reason to do hard mode, and I enjoyed the hard modes as well as in AQ 20. Whilst we're talking about like the AQ 10 and 20, next we go into Phase 8, Naxx. I'm just going to talk about Naxx, and I'm going to talk about the dungeons after. Naxx, as a whole, really good, really fun. I like what they did with it. And I especially like what they did with Saf and KT. KT especially. KT's hard mode 4 phase was absolutely kino. You went in there, you killed him normally, and then whilst he's dead, the Lich King comes out, he's like, what the heck? Freezes you all, reses KT and says, KT, hurry up and kill these guys. KT comes back, he's degenerating at like, it's like 1% every 2 seconds or something like that. And like, there's just undead pouring in, and like, KT maintains his previous mechanics. There's still stuff going on, but it's got like a feeling of like, oh my god, we're getting overrun by undead. Quick guys, we gotta kill the undead. And like, it's really cool, right? And that's really fun. And again, hard mode mats as well. So it feels like really rewarding, right? So you don't just rain loot at the players, you can give them a mount instead. And it's like, cool, do it for a mount. That's really fun. But now that we've covered Naxx, let's go over the new content that was in Classic, SoD, sorry, it's Classic SoD. First, Demonfall Canyon. I did this on my Moonkin, and it's on my channel as well, I'll link it below. And me and my friends did it at level, like, when we were like level 56, 57. It was really challenging, but it's not made for that. It's a level 60 dungeon, and if you approach it level 60, I think it's pretty good, especially if you get a little bit of gear. The bosses hit kind of hard if you're under geared, but when you got a little bit of gear. It's not too bad. Very classic dungeon. I really enjoyed it. Next, we go to Karazhan Crypts, which are a couple things about Karazhan Crypts. First, the difficulty. I'll go over the difficulty first. I think it's a pretty hard dungeon for dungeon standards. However, I think it is tuned around you having like at least like tier 2, right? Which I think if you had tier 2, Karazhan Crypts, if you've got a little bit of knowledge, is fine. I just think the lich is a bit challenging if, like, say if your tank gets MC'd, for example, and you're in a group of like clothies or something and you get like ran over. I think that's kind of dumb, but I mean, that's really it. Other than that, I think the place is great. You just pull slow, don't get overwhelmed, don't run through shit in darkness and die, and it's pretty cool. It's a really cool place. Really like the bosses in there. Fun stuff. And the light mechanic, of course. I did not forget about the light mechanic. The light mechanic's really unique. I think it was done in Retail WoW's War Within Delves, so it's really cool to see it brought into Karazhan Crypts, because it really added to like the atmosphere and like the mechanics of the place, and like it adds to a lot of the panic with the undead the undead patrols like pouring in from the darkness, or like worrying about pulling stuff. Just really fun and cool mechanics. Now, the main part, the new raid, the SoD raid, the first new classic raid we've ever had. Before this raid, I wasn't sure if the SoD team could pull it off. Like, genuinely, I was a bit worried, like, what's the new raid going to be like, right? Is it going to be too hard? Is it going to be too retail-esque? Is it going to be boring? No, it wasn't. It was too hard on release, don't get me wrong. The tuning on release was really bad. But that plays into what a lot of people did was it plays into what I talked about earlier was the raid was quote-unquote tuned for 20 players, but what most people did was they bought like 30 plus people and just rolled it, because the enrage timers of the bosses, namely Mason and Lillian, I think Lillian Voss, were really bad early on. Mason especially was horrible. He had like a 5-minute enrage timer, and like a minute 30 of that you're doing cannons or something. That's crazy, man. But eventually that got fixed, and the raid is super approachable, and it's a really fun raid. Like, Lillian Voss is my favorite fight in all of Classic. Like, it's just such a fun fight, and it's not too hard. Like, it's pretty simple, right? There's like 4 mechanics that you have to deal with as a raid. Like, there's the fire, there's the move around stuff, the move around yellow thing, there's poison you run out, and then there's the big green circles you run out, and that's it. As a DPS, that's it. You just mung the boss and just deal with those 4 mechanics. It's not too much, right? It's simple enough, but those mechanics are deadly enough where you have to semi-pay attention to them if you're not like 30-man, 40-man zerging her with like 8 healers. There's obviously tank mechanics too, but like, I'm a DPS. Which also goes into the classes, how they feel as well. Like, Scarlet Enclave was amazing, Ashbringer was cool, everything with it was amazing, like 10 out of 10 raid after the changes, like absolute peak. But Feral itself feels like a blast to play right now with this Scarlet Enclave tier set. Like, this has added a lot of like, this final phase of SoD added a lot of like, just really just desire for me as a player. Because that's so cool. Like, Feral feels like a classic Feral, but it has like a bit more fast pace, a little bit more complexity, but still a lot of skill expression whilst maintaining the vanilla Feral Druid vibe. It is so fun. I think, like, looking at the rotations on Wowhead, like, I think it's the best they've done. Like, other stuff's done well too, don't get me wrong, like, but Feral's amazing. Good for the WoW Classic devs. Shout out to them. Good stuff. But that's my thoughts on the content. I have great hopes for Classic Plus. I'll reiterate this at the end, but I'm really looking forward to towards Classic Plus after, like, just thinking about like the new stuff they've done, being like Demonfall Canyon, you know, Karazhan Crypts, and of course the new KT fight in Scarlet Enclave raid, or the end of KT fight on Hub 4. I really enjoyed the SoD secret stuff too, like with like Khonshu and like the little like dev room thing where it says like thank you for playing on it. That's like cute and some indie dev shit. That's great. I love that stuff. And like for the most part, like what made it fun for me, what made SoD fun, and what makes Classic fun is the people. When in P3, I joined a guild called Brown Bread, and I really liked those guys, but we were still pugged. But in P4, I joined Octagon with my friends. Octagon was really cool. I'd like to shout out Octagon in this video as well. They made it fun. It was good vibes. We killed the bosses, obviously. You're not going to try to kill it if you're going to kill bosses. And it was just fun. The vibes were good with Bants. The raids got brought down. And, you know, just you kept going back. There was people showed up, and it was great. Everyone got geared. Everyone helped each other out. Now, of course, there's some memorable features. Like, there's good meme characters. Like, there's always that warrior who wants the DPS stuff and never wait. And then there's the warrior who will wait and end on the top DPS. So good for him. But then there's just other funny moments too. Like for example, in Scarlet Enclave, my guild Octagon didn't really like to do the on top of the barn and fence strat, right? It was just more fun. Personally, I agree, to just like have the bosses split up and just deal with the mechanics. This had some funny side effects, like for example, we tried to go on the barn one week and this happened.
Get up.
Isn't the boss
Okay,
gonna spawn there?
Geo,
The boss gonna
Geo,
spawn there?
you need.
Start walking.
Wait for the.
The boss is gonna
Wait
need
for
to-
the.
boss is
Oh,
spawn.
Alright, boys, we're doing it live.
Then other stuff too, like every week Scarlet Enclave would take us about an hour and a half, 2 hours to clear, but then Beast Lord would be the determining factor, and we don't talk about Beast Lord after this, like, just everything else was pretty clean, but then we got the Beast Lord, and like, maybe it was ping, maybe it was whatever, because we're an Oceanic guild playing on a US server, so there is a bit of ping, it's like 200 or so, but stuff would always just go wrong, and yeah. But that was great. Friends as well, personal friends who I started SoD with. Shout out to those guys, great guys, and yeah, they all made it fun. Classic is a social game, and it's best enjoyed with a group of players you actually like. You're not gonna personally. I don't think I could raid log with a bunch of people I hated. Right, brave opinion. I'd also like to thank the class riders. From I think Nax or late AQ. A lot of class riders just kick their butts in the gear. I think the Feral Druid one was called Balor, and yeah, he maintained the Feral Druid guide as well as helping with the Sims, which was really great for that guy. Thanks man. And yeah, that's really it for SoD. Like, just it was fun. I discovered that classic plus is could be a real thing, and is a really promising, has a really promising future. Like, there's not much else to say. Like, it was great. It's just fantastic. And yeah, thanks SoD devs for putting in a good effort. I will remember this. I will remember the season of Discovery as a very fond memory, and I will be eagerly awaiting Classic Plus. Thank you to everyone who watched, who watched any of my content and is watching this. I appreciate you a lot, and I hope you enjoyed SoD too.